What is up, everyone? Today, we're going to be taking a look at some of the better cards in all the Neo sets. So we'll just go through the holos, the ones that are very expensive, kind of talk about how they compare to vintage before this, which isn't that much. It's pretty much all of the early Wizards of the Coast stuff, like base set, Jungle, Fossil, and then base set 2, Team Rocket, Gym Challengers. And we'll see kind of the comparability. I guess people really love this set. So we have here well, you know what? Let's just show it this way. So we have the Charizard, which is $1,400. Now, the Charizard from the very base set is only, I think, it's like 200, 230. So this is literally 5 times more than that. Yeah, it's a much thicker card, and there might be about the same as him. I don't really know, but probably not, because this is like a secret rare kind of. So it's crazy to me that this is 5 times the price. The Shining Trianatar is $636. That's a pretty good, price when you look at modern day Trianatars, which are pretty much half this value. Then we have, Mewtwo, Raichu, and Celebi. One's for 500, and the other ones are for in the 200s. My personal favorite of all of them is Raichu. I used to actually have Celebi and Kabutops, but I kind of bought and sold a lot of stuff during COVID. And so if I had those, they're kind of about the same price, honestly, as back then. Gengars are really moving up. And this Gengar is 208, which is crazy because the Gengar from Fossil is like $50. And this is probably the same rarity because this is a holo rarity and not the Shining rarity. So then we look at Shining Noctowl. I actually had that one as well. And that was only $155. Still, for a Noctowl, crazy, $155. But it's, it's a nice card. So then we have some of these other pretty sick cards. Light Dragonite is $151. Again, I believe when we did the last video, and someone can comment that I'm wrong, but I believe the one from Jungle is $50. So that's crazy. This is 3 times the price of that. Again, we have another Trianatar, $93. I always find it mind-boggling, and I think Neo is a better sets than base set Jungle Fossil, but these holos are even the cheaper holos are like 4 times the price, 3 times the price as the cheaper holos from those original sets. But these are pretty sweet holos. Then if we go and look at Neo Revelation, my personal favorite Shining card is Shining Gyarados, and the Shining Magikarp is probably all-time second favorite. Those are just some really sweet cards. This is when their art styles are getting a lot better. Like this Shining Gyarados is pretty sick for Wizards of the Coast days, and it reminds me of what the full arts would be. Kind of reminds me of the Lugia card, to be honest, and it's very similar vibes, obviously. And imagine that Shining Gyarados in a full art. Maybe they have it in some sort of like remake set, but that's a pretty sweet card, and it's $513. That's pretty cheap compared to the Mewtwo right off the bat now from Destined Rivals is pushing $400, and the Shining Gyarados is an awesome card. Then if we look at like the Entei, Suicune, and the Raikou era, these are 95, 84, and 90 and 79. We looked at the other legendaries from the last sets, which were Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres, and those were 1/3 these prices. They were in their $20, $30. And so you're talking about why is vintage so cheap, and these Neo ones are kind of, much higher. Comment that if what you think the reason is. Celebi, this one's only $41. Personally, I don't really like it. I like the Celebi from the newer sets first. I think it's Evolving Skies, that really cool Celebi card. And then we're looking at some more, cheaper holos, like Delibird, only $24. If you want to take vintage and you want to buy some cool holos, there's Delibird is $24. That's pretty much, to me, some of the okay hits in these modern sets. And this Porygon 2, I kind of really like. And my favorite holo from this set is actually Jumploof. I actually own this in the PSA 10. Pretty funny. But look, it's only $16. Such a cute card. Look at that card. Then we're looking at Neo Discovery. So Umbreon here is $244. You're talking about a V Umbreon from Evolving Skies is pretty much $250 raw. Same exact price as a vintage Umbreon. Then we have Espeon, which is $117. That's pretty much all of the Espeons that we have today in the very modern most sets. Prismatic Evolutions, that's pretty much the same price. Talking about, I think it's a Fusion Strike. The Espeon card is $200-300. this is half that price. And yes, the artwork is much better in the newer sets. But then we're talking about a random Umbreon. I don't know why here it looks like it's out of place, but maybe not. The most expensive card is $37. So it's crazy how the Umbreon is doing so well that it's better than most holos. And full set value here, you're only talking $9.50. Modern sets are double, triple that for like the okay modern sets, and some are 4 times that price. So here, a Houndoom, if you want to get an old Houndoom, it's $34. Houndour, $31. Basically the same price. Then we just have some, cheaper holos. So if you want to finish a vintage set, this one's probably the one to do it. If you're just, making what the average person makes, you could finish a set in half a year if you really just bought one per time. And then you could buy like 5 of these per time. They're cheap. They're cheaper holos. Now, our last set is personally probably the best set from Neo. This is Neo Genesis, if you're not counting getting a Shining. So Lugia is $262. That's about probably $50 cheaper, I think, than the one from Silver Tempest. And this is a classic. Yes, and to me, Silver Tempest is way better. But still, if you want to finish a vintage set, this one's only a little bit more. And this is $1,000. So again, this one's pretty doable. And you get these really nice holos, a classic Wizards of the Coast vibes. This is back in the day when people liked pulling holos. Now holos suck and they're just literally part of bulk. And people don't look to enjoy the Pokemon game as much because there's so many hits you can get. And there's so many different rarities that it's like, if you don't get the best rarity, it's like a bust. And the Pichu, probably my favorite card from the entire Neo Genesis set. I just love Pichu. So cute. And it's only $45. Another really banger card from this, personally, is the Bellazoom. It's only $14. That's literally a pack of most modern day sets, which is crazy. Because why are people paying mass amounts for these random ass packs when you can buy straight up hits? You could do that with any set now. Just honestly buy the hits and only open up a little bit. I love Heracross because it is, if you look at it, it looks like it's battling a pincer. If you look at the front left corner, that's what it's doing. And that's literally less than a $20 card. And Kingdra is only $10. That literally is, the Kingdra now is, what is it? $70, $80 now for that one from Shrouded Fables. So you can get 10 of these for the same price. And so I want to thank everybody for watching. And I know I kind of ramble and talk very fast, but Pokemon really fascinates me. Just the aspect of the collecting and on the same front, the investing and the making money from it is getting a little crazy just because people are kind of, hurting each other. You see fights in parking lots for Pokemon cards and you can never find stuff in the wild. But I've been in the game for such a long time and it ebbs and flows. This ebb and flow has been much, longer where everyone's going crazy. So it's definitely hard to find product, but just be patient and thank you everyone for watching.